Barbecue in Boise, Idaho, and I've got it locked on the 50,000 gigawatt blowtorch of the internet that is Barbecue Central.
Yay! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening's live fire fun and frivolity show. If you want to jump in tonight and give us your thoughts and opinions on the live fire industry, here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, it's the second Tuesday of a month, and in the first hour and in the first interview segment, we are joined by none other than the creator of AmazingRibs.com, Meathead. And since we are a few short weeks away from the biggest turkey day of them all, Thanksgiving, we will preempt the Science with Meathead segments that we've been doing for the last number of months and talk specifically about turkey science, injections and brines and osmosis and roasting and grilling and ovening, all that, because we're constantly getting new listeners, because people are constantly under the pressure of the biggest turkey day of the year. They don't want to mess it up. They're going to be hosting or they're bringing it, whatever the case may be. So we rerun this topic back out this time of year to make sure that you are in the best position for success and doing it with one of the all-time greats in the industry, somebody who has prepared turkeys in all of the different ways and is also not afraid to weigh in on which one he thinks is the best. Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Then we'll move 35 past the hour, and also in the first hour, but in the second interview segment, we are joined by the contributing barbecue editor to Southern Living Magazine, Robert Moss, robertfmoss.com, his website. Robert was down in Lockhart, Texas this past weekend, being a guest and perhaps media member of the Texas Monthly Barbecue Festival. That's a hotly popular, well-attended event, and coming off the heels of COVID, I'm sure it was as big as it's ever been, as popular as it ever been, and we will get Robert Moss' take on that. Also, since we have him, we'll get his idea on what a Southern Thanksgiving looks like and what his favorite turkey might be, if he's got any special tricks up his sleeve to make sure that you have success. So we'll utilize him in a number of different fashions. And then we'll close out the first hour. Then we'll move to the second hour. And joining me 14 past the second hour, a first-timer to the show. And if you have a ceramic cooker and you're sick and tired of your traditional grill grate, you're going to want to listen to Andrew Barnhart from Flip Grill, as the name would suggest. This is something that is a aftermarket piece. He's making them. As far as supply and manufacturing, we're going to have to talk to him about that, because it looks like he has A, had success, and then B, like everything else in the world, it's just not as easy to get replenished in a timely fashion. So we'll talk about the unit, Flip Grill. I'm sure you can use your imagination. Take the old grill grates out, put the Flip Grill in, and you basically have a grill grid on one end, and then you put your meat on, and then you put another grill grid on top, lock it in place, and then you just use your hot mitt. You flip it. It's just that easy. I think Meadow Creek has something similar, but in a much bigger fashion on their chicken cookers, but similar in concept. And Andrew Barnhart will talk to us all about Flip Grill and how you might be able to get your hands on one if you have a ceramic cooker. At this point, we'll also see how he plans on attacking the market going forward. And then closing out the show this evening, 35 past, the second hour is the co-founder of Vortic Watch Company, R.T. Custer, joins the show. Of course, I'm wearing my Vortic watch, but tonight we're going to be talking about something very special to Vortic as a company. On Friday, Veterans Day, if you didn't know, they released their fourth iteration of the Vortic Watch military watch line. There are a very limited number of these. If you are a lover of American history, specifically the military portion of that, you're going to want to check this watch out. You're going to want to get on the waiting list. You're going to want to make sure you have the proper allotment of cash on hand, because 50 will go very quick, and then there's an additional 15 special edition military, different color dial, different movement. Incredible. I've seen these. We're going to be showing them, and I'm telling you, you're going to be very excited, especially if you are into this thing. If you're a watch person like me, a budding enthusiast, somebody that's adding to a very small collection, this might be one you want to consider. So that's how the show's laying out for you here this evening. First hour, the regulars, Meathead and Robert Moss. Second hour, newcomer to the show, Andrew Barnhart from Flip Grill, and a second timer to the show, co-founder of Vortic Watch Company, R.T. Custer. So there you have it. Don't forget, you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, at BBQ Central Show. We say good evening to those of you watching this show through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook and Twitch/BBQ Central Show to watch. Also, you can take the show in via YouTube/RD Rempe, where there is a chat going on that may or may not have to do with anything that is relating to the show at that particular moment. Also, we'll take a second to say hello to all the folks using the audio streaming platform Clubhouse as well. So if you'd rather hear us and not watch us, I certainly understand that. Clubhouse is the way to do it. And there also happens to be a chat within the Clubhouse now as well, so you can chat along with the other folks in the Clubhouse if you see fit. So let's start here tonight, and I want to thank my pal Malcolm Reed for sending me a How to Barbecue Right beanie, which is a hat, and more importantly than that, because I'm not much of a hat guy, a How to Barbecue Right jacket. I mean, look at this thing. More lightweight than not, but got a nice collar, nice hood. And of course, he sent it to me, and then immediately I was able to press it into service because it dipped down very quickly in temperature over the last number of days. Now, it has spiked up, but even in the morning, it's a little cooler, so I've been able to press it right into service. So the day after I get the jacket, it was a bit cool in the morning. I toss it on. Went to a call I had to make down in Wooster, Ohio, by the way, home of certified Angus beef. That's not who I was calling on. It was truck stuff. And as I'm walking the mean streets of Wooster, Ohio, someone stopped me and said, "Hey, great jacket. I'm a big fan of Malcolm. I watch all the stuff." So I thanked the man for the compliment. And then I went in for the ego boost. I said, "Hey, by the way, you know who I am?" And without hesitation, he said, "No, who are you?" And I said, "Nobody. Just nobody." And I went on my way, cursing that man all the way to my customer's location, which just goes to show you, just because somebody knows Malcolm, that does not bear any weight that they know my show and that he comes on my show once a month or anything like that. Throw it out the window. So going in for the easy ego boost and instead a swift kick to the balls instead. Some listener feedback before we get to Meathead. Mitch in Nebraska. Greg, yes, Sam and Greg go back to their usual nonsense segment. I loved it. Greg, your lack of motivation to travel outside of this country is troubling. Spread your wings, you puss. Keep up the great work. Regards, Mitch. Mitch, I don't have to if I don't want to.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Todd in Idaho weighing in. Greg, I've never been compelled to write into the show before, but after hearing Sam, the cooking guy, take a dump all over Idaho, I'm compelled to do so. First of all, thank you for sticking up for us. I will tell you without a doubt our culinary abilities in the state are as good or better than Mississippi or Louisiana. And we're much more than just a potato state. Hey, Sam, you're from San Diego. Last time I checked, there is no culinary prowess coming out of that elitist town. Your baseball team sucks too. How about you come here and visit first before you take a dump on us? Or why not go back to North Korea and stay there? That being said, Greg, do you think I am overstepping if I ask Sam for a free Nakiri knife? I understand he's doing that on his channel till the end of the year. Sam, how about it? Love the show. Regards, Todd. Todd, wow. That might be the best email of the year. Taking Sam to task. Somehow working it back to asking him for a free giveaway? Wow. By the way, I don't know if the San Diego Padres suck. And just to be clear, Sam didn't go to North Korea. He went to South Korea. From what I understand, and I am not a world traveler, big difference between North Korea and South Korea. But we thank you for taking the time to write into the show, Tom. Hey, what do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We love that you can get rip-roaring hot for the high-temperature grilling of steaks and other than cuts. But what's missing in the everyday lineup of ceramic cookers? The real ability to do true two-zone cooking. Two-zone cooking is very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker, not very realistic. Why? Because it's round. Enter Primo Grill and their game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute a two-zone setup that you desire. It also gives you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. Nearly 60 different ways to cook and configure the Primo cooker, so you're only limited by your culinary imagination. They have all of the accessories that you're looking for. And here's the bottom line. Best ceramics in the biz? Yes. Patented technology? Yes. True two-zone cooking capabilities and multiple sizes? Yes and yes. Visit primogrill.com to find a dealer near you, or check them out on Facebook and Instagram. I know everybody's ready for a Primo, so get on over there right now. Primogrill.com. That's primogrill.com, and we'll be back with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com for more information, or to purchase, or to see what other items they are retailing on that website. You might be interested. Cookinpellets.com. The second Tuesday of the month, 14 past this hour, always finds a visit from the creator of the most heavily trafficked barbecue and grilling website on the face of the earth. And we know him only as one name. Meathead! Hey, Meathead. Share with everybody something that Tim McKeska, barbecue legend from Taylor, Texas.
I know Tim well.
Yes. So
great sausages.
Well, we had talked with Tim a number of months ago, and he started teasing the fact that there was going to be a turkey shortage of some sort here in the Americas. So I followed up with him, and he got back to me yesterday and said, here's what's happening. A few more large turkey farms had to destroy their herd in the late summer because of the avian flu. It was believed most of that was over with, but mandatory destruction of those birds was a big loss. As I said on your show at the time, the 20-pound large birds will be in very short supply since most of the producers sent those to deli processing. Two large retailers, Costco and Sam's, executed large contracts for 12-pound hens, also contracts for boneless turkey breast. That's above and beyond the pressure all of the other grocery retailers across the U.S. Are dealing with in the market. So in closing, believe the 12-pound hens should have availability in the next 12-plus days, but they may be short closer to Thanksgiving. The bad news is you're looking at a 25 to 35% increase in cost. Of course. It's the way of the world right now. So
everything else is up.
We've been
Greg,
long-time proselytes. Yes.
It's not a herd. It's a flock.
A flock of geese? A flock of turkeys?
Yeah.
Is it a flock of all poultry?
You know what they call a bunch of sparrows? I think they're called a murmuration.
Do you know what a bunch of geese are called? A gaggle.
A gaggle. That's right.
That's funny.
And crows are called a murder of crows.
Murder?
A murder of crows.
Wow. I like that the best, I think. I thought I liked gaggle the best, but evidently murder is surpassed.
Hey, I got to talk. I got to jump in before we get into the do's and don'ts of cooking turkey.
Yep.
Your flip grill guy.
Yes, Adam.
This is a concept that goes back to Hawaii for the huli huli.
Really?
The huli huli is similar to what you were talking about with Meadow Creek, but it's a way of flipping the birds all at once. And huli huli turkey, huli huli chicken is a delicacy in Hawaii, and I have the recipe on my site. But huli means flip or turn.
Are you familiar with the flip grill?
No, I've never heard of it. I'm going to look them up as soon as we're done, and I'm going to listen in.
Well, the website is flipgrill.shop. So don't try .com because it's not there. It's .shop, which is a little awkward.
Okay.
But, I mean, obviously flipgrill.com wasn't available, and he went with .shop. And, stay tuned. In an hour's time, you'll be listening to me talk to Andrew Barnhart from Flip Grill. All right, so...
And you were talking about the fame of Malcolm versus your ignominy. I got a feeling both of you are going in the Hall of Fame this year. If I have anything to do with it...
No.
If I have anything to do with it, you're both going in.
Well, I'm going to speak for Malcolm and say we thank you. Both of us thank you for that. I believe both of us will not be in there this coming year.
I think it would be hard to find more deserving than both of you.
Well, thank you.
And also, this whole business about you and travel. I remember when you wouldn't eat lamb. I remember when you hated sous vide. You've experienced them and you've come around. One of these days, go to Paris.
Oh, I'll never go to France. I have a personal vendetta against France ever since the 80s.
Well, there are just Tokyo.
Oh boy! Now you sound like Sam the cooking guy. Meathead, I'm stopping you here because as you had said last month, we're pissing away time. And
all right, one more thing. I gotta put in a plug for one of your advertisers, Primo. I love the oval shape of the Primo. It's my favorite Kamado.
Do you agree? Two-zone cooking is achievable then?
It's essential. It's essential.
And you can do it on the oval Primo.
Yeah, cooking is all about temperature control, and two-zone cooking is temperature control. You can do it on a round Kamado, but it's really tricky. You got to put in a ceramic plate and a whole bunch of gymnastics. But we were going to talk turkey, and since I've blown away a big chunk of my time, I wanted to go down a little bit of a checklist of do's and don'ts for turkey.
Can I ask you one question before the checklist? It has to do with turkey. A couple weeks ago, I have the guys from Turbo Trusser on. Stellar 2 segments, if I say so myself. But other than keeping the bird more uniform and, let's say, tight in shape, does it make the bird juicier or cook faster as they promote on the Shark Tank appearance?
Well, frankly, I'm not a fan of trussing the bird. In fact, that's one of my check marks. If you think about this now, you've got the bird. Now, technically, your breast meat should not be as hot as your thighs and legs. Your
Right.
thighs and legs like to go up to 170 or so in that range. Your breast meat 160. Um, Also, you want crispy skin. If you take those legs and pull them into the body and tie them up, the crotch, which is where the thighs attach to the main body, just like on you,
Yep.
the crotch area, the skin won't brown. It's going to stay tan and soggy. And you're blocking heat from getting to that side of the leg. If you let your freak flag fly, if you let the legs float out, then warm air can circulate around the thighs, brown the skin, and warm the thighs so they're hotter than the rest of the bird. So and I feel the same way about chicken. Don't truss it.
All right, so let's talk about turkeys. You have the checklist. We can cross off the trussing part, evidently. And go ahead and start running down the checklist, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to edit my outline as well.
Well, first of all, don't take risks on Thanksgiving dinner. If you're cooking the turkey and you've never done one before, or you're doing it differently than you normally do, like you've normally cooked it in the oven, but this time you're doing it on the grill or the smoker, start now. Practice now. Get ahead of the game. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't risk it. Screw up. You know the old routine. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. So do a bird now. There's no reason why you can't. Don't go crazy with really crazy injections. I've heard people talking about injecting it with Dr. Pepper and all kinds of spices and herbs. If you're going to inject with anything, try butter. Do a butter ball. And the way to do that is not when the bird is cold. Get the bird in the grill of the smoker. Let it start to warm up a little so that when you eject it, the butter doesn't solidify. And you can get butter into the breast and legs nice and easily. And that really is nice. Don't trust the pop-up thermometer. It's designed to go off at around 180, and that's way overcooked.
It's 180?
170 to 180 in that range. Well, they're trying to prevent liability. You know, they all tell you to cook your turkey to 165. That's that 160 maximum. If you take it to only 155, a lot of people will object to the texture. It'll feel a little slippery. But remember, you're cooking beef to 130, 135, pork to 135, 140. 160 is overdone. Now, USDA says 165. I say take it to 155 to 160, pull it off. It'll carry over to 160, and it'll still have a little juiciness to it. You take it to 165, 170, or whatever that pop-up says, you're going to have cardboard, not a good, juicy turkey.
Let's play. Go ahead.
You go.
No, go ahead. Check. You have to check. Let's go.
Don't put anything in the cavity. Let warm air get in there. If warm air gets in there, it'll cook it from both the outside and the inside. It'll cook faster and you'll lose less moisture. If you put the stuffing in there, you've got to get the temperature up to a safe temp, 160 or so, in the center of the stuffing. You've created a bowling ball. If you take that stuffing out, and what I love to do is I put the stuffing in a muffin pan, and I make stuffings or muffins. And I mix a little egg in there so it firms it up a little, and everybody gets a little stuffing muffin. And everybody gets a lot of nice crust that way. Everybody loves the crust. That's the best part of the stuffing. And I got to tell you, if you put me midway between turkey and stuffing, I don't know which one I would go to first. I'd probably die of starvation. I might go to the stuffing. So take the stuffing out, let the warm air in the center, or take it to the next level and spatchcock the bird, which is just another word for butterflying it. Cut the backbone out, spread it out, and now you can brown the interior. And remember, browning is flavor. If you open it up, you can get enough heat to the interior, or if it's actually no longer the interior, it's laying out flat, it'll brown, you've got more flavor, and you've made the meat thinner, so it'll cook faster and you have less moisture loss. Or go one more step further, and this is what I do now, break it down. Whenever you cook a whole animal, you're making sacrifices. Break it down, cook the thighs separately from the breasts, and you can now use your instant read thermometer and get them off at exactly the right temperature. It's not traditional. It doesn't look like a Norman Rockwell painting, but you're going to get a better tasting bird if you break it down into leg section, breast section, and everybody will be nice and brown and flavorful. And then don't use too high a temperature. There's a lot of recipes out there that say started at 500 or started at a low temp and end at 500. 325 is a good number. At 325, you can render fat, you can brown the skin, but remember, and it holds true for not just barbecue, all manner of meats, lower the temperature, the more tender and the more juicy you're going to end up with. You don't want to cook a turkey at 500. It's going to just squeeze the proteins, squeeze out the juices, and you're going to end up with a dry bird. And then last tip, and then we can riff. Don't baste. If you've got all this juice in the bottom of the pan and you're squirting it all over the skin, you're making the skin soggy. And we want crispy skin. We want a dry skin. We want it like a drumhead. So you don't need to baste. It's not getting through the skin into the meat. It's not adding any moisture. The only thing basting does is it cools the meat, and that slows the cooking. And if you slow the cooking, then it is helping a little with tenderness, but it's messing up the skin. So don't baste.
So you have a whole bird. You're talking a lot about skin, no basting, because it's going to make it soft, and you're not going to have the crispy skin that you want. What about this? You've just brought up a new method that I've never heard you talk about in the 15 years that I've known you, butchering down a uncooked bird and then cooking it separate pieces. I've never heard you say that before until 2022. So new things. What about taking the skin off, fully off the bird, and then figuring out cooking the bird then, skinless, getting the rub on it? I would assume that's going to actually make it a tastier bird, at least on the outside, because the rub's there. It's not on the skin, because people who don't like the skin aren't going to eat it anyway, what have you. And then figuring out a way to make some kind of turkey skin chip or delicacy or something along these lines.
You're vibrating on the same wavelength. It's brilliant, and it's a really good technique. I do this often. I have a recipe for my new book I'm doing called Duckapalooza, which is the same thing. Duck skin is marvelous, and it can get really good and crunchy. Also, I'm doing a burgoo recipe where I pull the skin off the chicken and throw it in the bottom of the cast iron pot, crisp it. You can actually get crunchy, crispy, like potato chips, chicken and turkey skin. And then you can sprinkle it on top of a salad, or, if you're doing a chicken salad, or on top of the meat. And if you take the skin off, you can get your herbs right on the flesh. You just got to be careful that you don't overcook. I think it's an excellent technique, and it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it.
What's the safest way to quick thaw a turkey for the folks that are going to buy it, forget it, and then they're chasing it out of the freezer with days to spare?
Well, you don't want to do that if you don't have to, but you can actually cook a frozen bird. I mean, think about it. Just keep the temperature low, and it will thaw as it cooks, and it'll go right through the danger zone up into the safe zone, and it will become pasteurized. So you can actually take a frozen bird and get all the stuff out of the cavity and everything, and you can. You can actually cook a frozen bird. You in a pinch, if you want to thaw it, you can put it in hot water. You're really taking a risk. There's research that USDA has done on this that says it's okay, but it's not really a great idea. Try not to do it. There's one other tip I missed here, and then it's something that we have talked about before that I think is really a cool thing to do, and I do it every year with my bird. Is I get a big old baking pan, and I put it under the grill grates, and I fill that baking pan. I take a lot of the trimmings off the skin from both cavities, the front and the rear cavity, a lot of flapping skin there. Take the tips of the wings off, throw it in there. Take the neck out, the gizzard, everything except the liver goes in this pan. I throw some celery, some carrots, some apple, You can put chicken stock or wine or water in there. But basically, I build a stock underneath the bird. And as the bird cooks, you get a turkey stock, and the drippings, which are smoky, get down in there. And then when the temperature of the bird is getting close to done, when it gets down to around 150 or so, I'll pull that baby out, strain it, put it in a stock pot, taste it. And if it's a little bit weak, cook it down. If it needs salt at the end, so you can adjust it. And you come out with the most incredible juice, which I don't add flour to. I don't make a roux or anything like that, because if you drizzle this on the bird, it'll soak into the meat. It won't sit on the surface. It'll soak in. And it's just wonderful. And I almost always end up with a quart or more of this. We never use more than a pint of it, which means the next day I can just warm it and drink it from a coffee cup. It's just the most marvelous stock. Absolutely wonderful.
Two quick things as we're running out of time. I've talked to some fairly reputable turkey cooks, and they've mentioned icing the breasts down 20, 30 minutes prior to going in to get them even lower in temperature, because you know you're going to have to take the dart meat up higher in temperature finish-wise. Do you believe in that? Does that work?
Yeah, it works. It works. I mean, I've seen people put ice packs on there and chilling down the breast and leaving the legs at a warmer temp. But again, I think, if you have to serve a Norman Rockwell bird, I guess that makes some sense. Otherwise, break it down. I mean, the same thing goes for whole hog. Cooking a whole animal, you're flirting with disaster. You're going to cook a whole hog. What's the right cooking temperature for turkey tenderloin? Come on.
Turkey tenderloin?
Not turkey. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Pork tenderloin.
I finished mine at 135.
That's right. And the loin are about the same temperature.
Yeah.
How about the shoulders and the legs?
Yeah, you're 200.
Yeah. How are you going to cook a whole animal and get the tenderloin, the loin, the leg, and the shoulder all done properly? You can't. You can't. I mean, a whole hog is really cool and ceremonial and beautiful, but it's really tricky to get the different muscles cooked to optimum temperature. Same is true with chicken and turkey. If you can get past the desire of your audience to see the Norman Rockwell bird, break it down. Cook those legs and the breast separately.
That is breaking news right here on the Barbecue Central show for the first time ever from Meathead. If you have any other questions as you build into the holiday, AmazingRibs.com is the website, of course, stock full of information. Or if you want to take it to the next level, join the Pitmasters Club, and you can also converse with all of the other cooks in there, as well as other expert opinion and technique, too. You can find Meathead right here on the second Tuesday of every month, 14 past the first hour. Meathead, always appreciate the time. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you as we build into the close of 2022.
Take care, Greg and Centralites, and have a happy Turkey Day, everybody.
There he is. Meathead right there. Yes, sir. Breaking your Thanksgiving down as he should, and he does every year. And breaking news. A lot of breaking. Breaking news. Break down the bird. Haven't heard that one before. I don't know a lot of folks that would even think about doing that, but it makes perfect sense. Or do what I said. Rip the skin off of it and make a big turkey skin crisp. Now that sounds delicious. A little salt. Yummer. Robert Moss is ready to go. I'll talk to you about Green Mountain Grills before we get to him. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. You have a couple different lines to choose from. A choice line and a prime line. If you're somebody that likes a little bit more of a robust build on the chassis, you like all the bells and whistles, prime line is the one you want to take a look at. If you like to save some money, maybe you're a little bit more of a frugal spender, but you know you want a pellet cooker, and you know you want something that's better than the entry-level cooker, choice line is the one you're going to want to take a look at. These are only sold through dealers, so find a dealer near you. Locate one by going to greenmountaingrills.com. Find the dealer that's nearest to you, and then stop by, get educated by the dealer, and then pick the one that best fits your needs. You can get a whole bunch of other accessories either at the dealer or online at greenmountaingrills.com. And you can get the pizza oven accessory. Yes, that's what you want, because not only do you love barbecue food and grilling food, you love high heat pizza. It's a fad that just hasn't lost traction. So that fits in both the Prime and the Choice line, but make sure you go see them, touch them, and feel them in person at your dealer, greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. We're back with Robert Moss right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And we thank Meathead for joining us last segment. This portion brought to you by Fireboard 2. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck. Fireboard's fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. My next guest, the contributing barbecue editor for Southern Living Magazine, an accomplished author, and a restaurant critic. We race to the hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Robert Moss. Hey, Robert.
Hey, Greg. How's it going?
I'm doing fabulous. Appreciate you making time as always. Now, look, I've put an APB out for this thing called the Q Sheet, but I fear it's somewhere never to be found again. Are we making it official and retiring it from the show this evening?
I don't want to commit to that much. It may come back from the retirement, but it's definitely on a long vacation.
It's on a hiatus, as they say in the entertainment industry.
A hiatus,
Yes.
for sure, yes.
All right, so next weekend is it, Robert, or week and a half. The Holy Smokes Barbecue Festival is coming, locked and loaded. Any last-minute adjustments or late-breaking news to tell us about as we lead it?
Not any real late breaking news. I did actually go out yesterday with the entire organizing crew. We did a walkthrough of the space at Riverfront Park in North Charleston. A beautiful location looking over the Cooper River in North Charleston, and got really excited about it. I mean, everything's coming together finally. Yeah, we're there's lots of little little pieces that fall together at the last moment, but it's looking good. We're knocking on wood. The weather's going to be good, but it should be a really good weekend.
How many other people are involved in putting this together?
Let's just say we did a walkthrough. There must have been 24 people out there at least. We have the guys from Home Team Barbecue here in Charleston, Aaron and Taylor, as well as Anthony DiBernardo from Swing and Swine, are sort of the organizers. But their restaurant crews are all out there. We have some event planners, so it's quite a production. And we had all our sound guys and the stage people, everybody else. So it was a pretty good crowd. And with volunteers and everything, there'll be well over 200 people out there,
wow,
just helping stage the whole thing.
Sell out?
Not quite yet. We are tracking towards selling out. We're looking at the numbers, but last year we sold out 4 days before the actual event. We're tracking to maybe sell out about the same time, maybe just the day before. But we're looking to sell out this year and getting very close.
So, who are you most looking forward to seeing and then eating, or is it potentially one and the same?
Well, I'm always looking forward to seeing the guys we had out last year. It's a good crowd. It's always great to get together and hang out with everybody. But I'm particularly excited this year. We have a couple of new pitmasters and barbecue folks joining us. We have the folks from ZZQ in Richmond, Virginia. In fact, there are several restaurants, representatives of restaurants who are coming who have not eaten at before, including ZZQ in Richmond. I need to get up there. We have Andrew and Michelle Munoz from Moo's Barbecue in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Coming out, which I'm pretty excited about. And actually, interesting enough, both ZZQ, which is in Virginia, and Moo's Barbecue in Los Angeles will be in the Texas Village because they are cooking Texas style barbecue. They are traditional, Holy Trinity, or Texas Trinity brisket ribs and sausage. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do. And then in particular, Leslie Rourke from Udon's Barbecue down in Yazoo City, Mississippi, where I've not been yet. So ideally I like to go to them, but in this case, I got 3 folks coming to me. So I'm very looking very forward to both eating their food and also getting to chat with them and get to know them.
Ubon's known also for their Bloody Mary mix to a high level.
Yes.
So I don't believe in Bloody Marys at all, so it's lost on me, but evidently their sauce is really great.
I've heard that. I am with you. I am not a Bloody Mary fan, and I think the ultimate problem is I'm not a big fan of tomato juice. So regardless of what you do to it, yeah, you sort of starting off on a bad foot for me.
So this past weekend, as I had mentioned in the open of the show, you were out in Lockhart, Texas. They had the big Texas Monthly Barbecue Festival. So somebody that is putting on a barbecue festival such as yourself, when you go down and just kind of take it, we don't have to dig into the minutia of it, but how do you see that event itself, and what are some of the top takeaways as you're taking part?
Yeah, I think the Lockhart event was really interesting this year for a couple different reasons. First is that Texas Monthly was bringing it to Lockhart, so they're actually taking the sort of the Texas celebration to a town that is now sort of really putting a lot of marketing muscle behind being the barbecue capital of Texas. In fact, as you walk around the square in downtown Lockhart, there are some brand new murals that were painted just for this festival, declaring the barbecue capital of Texas. So I think Lockhart is really trying to sort of throw the gauntlet down and say, yeah, okay, Austin, Dallas, you got all these craft barbecue places, but we've been doing this for 100 years. So I think there's a really interesting dynamic going on there. There's a lot of new barbecue places opening up in Lockhart as well, or not a lot, but a couple. There was always 3 classic ones. Now Terry Black's has just opened up more of a pure craft barbecue. You may have heard some of the little bit of friction there with
scuttlebutt going on amongst the families. I mean, talk about a weird spot. Lockhart now has some of the most rivaled family feuds going on in barbecue history.
Yeah, it's like the Hatfield and McCoys of barbecue. So you had Smitty's and Kreitz, which are all the same family, sort of related. Had a big feud and they split, and now you got the Black families, with a feud going on as well. I can't really. You almost need a chart to map it all out. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. But yeah, so that was interesting. But the Saturday event, they did this World Fair of Barbecue, which was downtown in Lockhart, which is I really love, because if you've ever been there, there's this beautiful sort of Victorian era courthouse in the center, and everything was just built around it. And it was a great time to just wander around. Lots of different, vendors selling barbecue and lots of different activities and things going on. So I thought it was a really good event, and really become, helping Lockhart, put its stake in the ground and really make a claim as the barbecue capital.
Did you hear any scuttlebutt about them not having any of the top 50 being there, and also being in Lockhart?
I heard nothing while I was there. Now I think we talked about this before. That when Texas Monthly had to go before the town council to get all the permits and everything, they sort of got an earful about how come nobody in Lockhart was in the top 50, and they sort of took their licks. But then Lockhart gave them the permits. And I think everybody, that was that water under the bridge, and I think it's moving forward.
Outside of the event itself, do you do any personal barbecue pilgrimages or anything like this?
Yes, I did. So I found myself being, the event in Lockhart didn't start until noon on Saturday. And so I said, well, okay, I'm going all the way to Central Texas. I might as well take a little advantage of it. So I flew in Thursday night, got up way, way too early, and drove into downtown Austin and stood in line at Franklin Barbecue and ate at Franklin again.
What time do you get there?
I got there. It was just getting light. I think it was about 7:45. This is before the time change.
So that's late.
And they open it. Yeah, well, they open at 11. So, if you define late, I was about 25 in line when I got there. So,
not too bad.
It's a line dynamic. You'll be the earliest people there. That's sort of that first wave. And after I got there at 7:45, for the next hour, maybe 4 or 5 people wandered up. And then you get sort of that middle wave who says, we'll get there an hour in advance. So around 10 o'clock, lots more people came in. And then you've got the folks who just sort of look at, I guess, and say they open at 11, so we'll show up at 11. And they're way down the block. So I did the whole line sitting thing, maybe for the last time for Franklin. I'm not sure. It was a long wait. But I did all that. And the next day, Saturday, I had nothing else to do because I had till noon to get to Lockhart. So I drove out to Lexington, Texas, to Snow's Barbecue, which has long been one of my favorite barbecue experiences. I got there, it was still dark. And it was probably about 6:45 when I got there. And now they open at 8 for a convoluted series of reasons. And I was stunned. The last time I went to Snows, I got there about the same time, and I was, maybe 30 back in line. I was at least, I know I was 154, I think.
Whoa.
Because they go down the line and they count at some point during the wait, because they're going to do raffles and stuff to keep people interested. So I was in the 150s. So, the line is just, in the past couple of years, just exploded, and it's super long now.
What number do you have to be to where you're starting to crap your drawers that you might get shut out? Or does that not happen?
Definitely not. Well, definitely not 154. I think it's much longer. I think that they have a lot of food. So I think you got to be way up in the 200s. When I left, they opened at 8. I think I was sitting down to eat barbecue about 11:15. So that's how long the wait is for just to get through the line. And there was still a pretty good line of 50 or 100 people. And they hadn't come and told them yet. Now at Franklin, they go down the line. They actually ask you for your order, and they'll tally it up, and they'll tell people at a certain point that where you're standing, you're likely to be out of brisket or you're likely to be out of ribs. And so they give you that little heads up, so that if you get there at 10:30, you can duck out if you're going to really be upset if there's no brisket left.
So you get your ticket, and then or order. They take it up to the thing, and when you just show up, they magically have them.
No, it's not really taking it. It's sort of an honor system. They just sort of say, "What are you going to get?" And so they're just sort of tallying up roughly that. Like, I was there by myself, so I wasn't not getting 8 pounds of brisket, but some people are getting it to go, and so they'll say, "Yeah, I'm getting 4 pounds of brisket and 8 sausages or whatever." So they're sort of tallying up just to try to get a sense of how far down the line are you going to be when you start to run out. But by the time, since I was there so early, by the time I left, I think there was still plenty left.
So I love to ask this question to folks that voluntarily wait in these lines, because I would love to go to these places, but I just can't see waiting in a 3.5 hour, 4 hour line or getting there that early. And I've often said I would love to go there, and as it opens, as people start to funnel out, have a recorder and say, "What did you think? Was it worth the wait?" And I guarantee you 100% of the people would say yes. And I go, well, is it because you just wasted half the day waiting in line? And if you said it was okay, or no, you know what, it missed expectation, you'd feel like a fool. So I wonder if any of his, look, I'm not saying that Aaron Franklin's food isn't superior. By all accounts, it's superior. But there could be some personal built-in bias going, well, I can't not say it's good because of all this time I've invested.
Yeah, it's the thing that really struck me this time, because I did a similar sort of line waiting experience a couple of years ago. It was pre-COVID. It is changed, and it's sort of like the definition of celebrity. You're famous for the purpose, or for the sake solely of being famous. And yes, the barbecue's great, but that's not why people are there. They're there because they heard, when you're in Austin, this is what you have to do. Yeah, I was in line in Lexington, Texas at Snows with people who had flown in from Minneapolis, Minnesota, to, for a barbecue weekend. They had come all the way there just to do this sort of pilgrimage thing. And what's really struck me this time, that was not the case last time. When you walk in the front door of Franklin, after you wait in line all the time, you finally get in the front door. There's sort of this little alley that takes you around to the counter. Right here, there's a big turquoise PK grill, the Franklin PK grill. There's t-shirts, there's cups, there's koozies, there's cutting boards, there's slicing knives. There's a whole merch wall along the side. Last time I was there, they had a porta-john in the back and a little coffee stand. So if you wanted to go to the bathroom or get some coffee before 11, you could go around the corner to the back and do that. 9:30, they open the doors up to the restaurant. Now you can go use the restroom, but you can also go buy merch. And so everybody's lining up and coming out with bags of merchandise. You can also at 9:30 start buying beer, which a lot of people who didn't plan ahead and bring a cooler start doing as well. So you have that going on. Same things at Snows. Snows added a building, and I'm not sure exactly how long ago it was, but just within the last year or two. Originally it was going to be just bathrooms, but they decided to put a little merch stand in the front. And now people get there, they show up. They go by, they're buying sweatshirts, they're buying t-shirts, they're buying hats, they're buying everything else. So it's almost like, I would say, an amusement park of barbecue. So people aren't there just to go eat something. They're there for the experience. They're there like you go to Disney World to buy the mouse ears and everything else. It's really become like almost this attraction in and of itself. And I gotta say, the barbecue with Snows was fantastic as always. Maybe worth waiting 3 hours for. I'm not sure, but I think the vast majority of people are there for a different reason.
What are they there for?
To say they went there to take pictures with Tootsie, to buy the merch. Is like, why do you go to Disney World? Why do you go to the Grand Canyon and then take your selfies?
Is she as accessible as she might appear to be, Tootsie?
Absolutely. And actually the difference, since the last time I was there, she's getting, she's in her mid 80s now. So she's sort of getting up there in years. The last time I was there, I was sort of amazed that the whole time she was either, when I showed up waiting in line, she's shoveling coals. She was working the pits and then she was stopping every now and again, talk to people. But then, she was washing dishes. She was working the whole time. This time she's slowing down a little bit. And I think she spends more time actually now talking to people. She's sitting down at tables, taking pictures and stuff like that. So she's, rightfully so, become the face of the organization. So people want to get pictures with her. So she's almost, I think Clay, who's the sort of the assistant pit master, does, sort of runs the show. She helps a little bit, but she's largely there almost as like now the figurehead, if you will, the representation of Snows and all power to her. She certainly earned it.
Is Aaron Franklin accessible? Do you see him when you're there?
He was not there as far as I saw. Not sure what he's up to. He's got a lot of stuff going on.
Is that a bummer? Like if you're going to wait in that line, do you want to at least get a peek and maybe say, hey?
By you, if you mean me specifically, not necessarily. I don't really expect him to be there. I think a lot of other people do. I heard that being asked. You think Aaron Franklin will be here, or when will it come out, et cetera. But yeah, he's got a lot of other irons in the fire, if you will. I doubt he's there every day. He's certainly not. I've never seen him at the restaurant itself, just sort of on a regular day. Not to say he's not there
really
some days, but he was certainly not there the Friday I was there.
So we have the big barbecue event coming up. Anything else that you want to promote or lead us into here before I let you go tonight? By the way, I meant to ask you, what's a traditional Southern Thanksgiving look like?
That's a long story. How far back do you want to get? I mean, mostly the traditional Southern Thanksgiving, we sort of put our mark on it when we started deep frying turkeys, which really happened down in Louisiana, and burning down garages in the process. So that's sort of our tradition. Thanksgiving actually was not a Southern holiday. It was really something that was embedded in the Northeast. And in fact, I've read a whole bunch about the Southern Thanksgivings. It sort of started to take off just before the Civil War, but then it was looked at as this Yankee holiday, an abolitionist holiday, and was frowned on by most, at least white Southerners, straight through until the 20th century. So there's not as much longer of a Thanksgiving tradition in the South until we got to deep frying turkeys in I think 1980s, 1990s.
Are there specific, so is it mostly deep fried turkeys and then specific side dishes?
No, I mean, by and large, the South just has adopted wholesale the American Thanksgiving tradition, and so it's turkey, it's dressing, it's cranberry sauce, etc. Nothing specific. I mean, you'll have some of the pimento cheese or whatever the things you bring to any family gathering, but it's by and large, I would say, identity a holiday that does not have a distinct Southern identity necessarily.
Do you have a favorite way to cook a turkey? Or are you a turkey fan?
I like turkey in general. I think going back to Meathead, I think a turkey is a hard bird to cook, particularly modern turkeys, which have been bred to have these gigantic white breast meat, and they're outsized, and it's really hard to get either pieces together. I'm usually a fan of not trying to slow smoke things. If I was doing turkey, I would do, like I think Meathead said it, spatchcock it. I would do it hot and fast. Do it at about probably 400 degrees. So same way I would do a chicken, and take it that way. Try to flatten it out and get it as flat as possible and go there. I happen to think turkey skin is great when it's crisped up. So don't take the skin off or anything else. Leave it on there, but do it at high heat. If you try to smoke turkey at 225, you're gonna have rubbery skin. It's just not good.
Robert Moss joining us here on the show, robertfmoss.com, his website, if you'd like to check it out. And you find him here on the second Tuesday in the second interview segment in the first hour. Robert, always appreciate the time. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in December.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Talk to you soon.
robertfmoss.com, his website, once again, if you would like to check it out. Probably get links to the books he's written, which are quite a number of them, and they're all very great reads. And I just learned something right at the end. Thanksgiving, not really a mainstay festival or holiday like it has been for us that have been pitted in the North for most of our lives. An abolitionist's holiday. Yeah, that's what we're going to call it from now on. Welcome to Thanksgiving, the abolitionist's holiday. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I was going to ask him about Blue Plate mayo, but he, as a professed Duke's mayo lover, and that's coming out of left field, but if you listen to the How to Barbecue Right podcast, and if you listen to my segment with Malcolm Reed last week, they just came on as a sponsor for their How to Barbecue Right podcast, Blue Plate mayo, so I was going to see if he was able to compare and contrast Duke's and Blue Plate, since both of those are technically Southern mayos, which one's better. But maybe in December, we'll figure it out. Ask him what the best mayo is and then what the best gifts for the impending holidays are going to be. So, once again, robertfmoss.com, his website. We will take a quick break and wrap the first hour up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And a lot of you writing in through emails and direct messages that you appreciated show legend and barbecue guest Hall of Famer Tim McKeska for weighing in with the latest breaking turkey information. Although I have to say, I've been to Giant Eagle, which is our local grocery store chain. I've been to BJ's Wholesale Club, which if you don't know what that is, it would be akin to a Sam's or a Costco. I haven't seen any shortage of turkeys whatsoever. They're wholly available. I haven't seen any of the huge ones, but then again, I'm not ever looking for a 20-pound turkey or anything. I'll do two 12-pounders, 15 pounds or less if you can find them. Sometimes you get pigeonholed into only getting X pound of bird, depending on what purveyor you're at. And I'm certainly not looking at any of the heritage breed turkeys. I meant to ask Meathead in his segment about fresh and frozen turkeys, but maybe we'll do that next Thanksgiving in 2023. We are looking to head into the second hour here, so as I say each and every week, refresh libations, get situated, tell all your friends and neighbors the show is coming on, because we're going to be talking about flip grills and watches, my two favorite things ever on the face of the earth. You're listening and watching Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.